Hello everyone. Thank you so much for your patience with me tonight. Thank you for hanging in there with me. And we will get on here and see if we can see who's on before we get started, so I can see your comments. Right, go ahead and say hello when you jump on and let me know that you're here. And then we'll get started. Wait a minute for people to find me because I'm half an hour later than I usually am on a Wednesday night. So we'll see. I had a leaking wash machine that kept spouting water all over, and called the machine repairman and on Monday, and he ordered some parts, and then he called tonight around 5 o'clock, a little after, and said, hey, I've got your part, I'm on my way to Dallas, can I stop by and fix your machine? And of course I told him yes. So anyway, let's so that took a little bit of time, and then I needed to make dinner. Otherwise we wouldn't get to eat until probably 9 o'clock. All right, well, I see that there's one person on. I have not seen any comments come through, so be sure to say hello when you come on and let me know you're here. And then we'll get started. Okay, well, we're going to be using the Yeti to Party stamp set and the coordinating dies tonight. And these just happen to both be in the clearance rack. If you go to stampinup.com and you click on the clearance, or click on sale in the menu and then click on clearance, you will find both of these items in the clearance section. Hello Laura, hello Jennifer, so glad you can make it. Sorry I'm late tonight. So anyway, we're going to be using these because they are available again, and it gives me another chance to use them. This is one of my favorite stamp sets from the last holiday catalog, and you can get the stamps and the matching dies if you don't already have those. So we're going to be using those, and let's go ahead and get started with our first project. It is a birthday card, not really Christmas, but it is wintry. I had my grandson in mind for a December birthday when I made this card. It's really rather simple, and it uses a sketch. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. Now, in addition to the Yetis, we're going to be using the One Horse Open Sleigh Designer Series paper. This is in the online exclusives that released on July 6th. We're also going to be using the 2023 to 2025 in color dots. Okay. And we'll be using the Timber 3D embossing folder, along with some Stampin' blends and ink in boho blue and Night of Navy. Oh, and Memento, because I always use Memento. I just figure that's a standard. So, okay, let's start with our card base. So we've got a card base of boho blue, and that is the standard A2 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I've got an additional piece of the boho blue, and this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. It's a little bit bigger than the normal layer. And I've already embossed that with that Timber 3D embossing folder. Okay, so we've got that. let's go ahead and put these together. So I'm just going to take my bone folder. Hello, Cynthia. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to go ahead and add my embossed layer. Now, this 3D embossing folder looks really nice on both sides, so you can pick which side you like, whether you want it to be ingrained or outgrained. I'm going to use it the way it was intended, with the grain out. But this does look and work great in both directions. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that on. Now, my original sample that I made yesterday, I did not emboss a separate layer. I embossed the front, and I will show you that one. Remind me. I just think this makes a more sturdy card when you do it this way, but then it also adds bulk when you're trying to mail. So it's a decision you'll have to make on what it is you wish to do. Now we've got a piece of the One Horse Open Sleigh Designer Series paper, and this particular piece is the one that looks downward. Let me see if I can quickly find that piece of paper in our stack so you can see exactly what I mean. Right here. Okay, see, it gives you the perspective that you're looking down from the top of the trees. So I just wanted a little piece of that, and mainly I wanted it for those footsteps there. Okay, so I've got that. And this piece is cut at 2 1/4 by 5. Yep, 2 1/4 by 5. And then I have a piece of the same Designer Series paper. I just have the back side of it. And this piece I've cut at 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And that's going to go on here like so. And then I have another piece of that Designer Series paper. This one is cut at 4 by 1/2 inch. And we're going to put that on here. And then I've got this piece of Misty Moonlight that is 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to stamp on this before I add this to my card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and then I'm going to start putting my layers down. So I'm going to put Winter Wishes, and I'm going to stamp this in Night of Navy, and I'm going to stamp it in the lower left corner of this strip. Like so. Okay. Now, while we're stamping, let's go ahead. I'm going to set that to dry. And while we're stamping, let's go ahead and get the rest of our pieces stamped. Okay. We're very careful. We can get our Yeti on this. So I'm going to stamp him in Memento because I'm going to color him with Stampin' Blends. And so you don't have to watch me cut him out and everything. I've actually already done this. But I do want to show you how I colored him. Okay, so there's my Yeti. And then we're going to need 2 packages and an ice cream cone. And these are going to be die cut out, so I just put them all on one block. And I'm just going to ink those up in Memento and stamp those all down in one spot, and that I have them placed just wide enough that I can throw my dies on all 3 of those all at the same time. Okay, so that is all we need. Okay, So let's grab our Stampin' blends. And here is our color palette. I'm going to set those card makings off to the side so that you can see our palette. Okay. Throw these out here. Okay. So this is what we have, and good, you can see all of those. All right, so I'm going to bring in a piece of scratch paper so that I don't. You should always put scratch paper down when you're coloring with blends because they do bleed through your paper. They're meant to do that. So I'm going to start with the dark pumpkin pie. And actually, I don't think I need light. Oh, yes, I do. I need it for the ice cream cone. Okay, so I'm going to color the Yeti horns, and then I'm going to come right over to the ice cream cone while I have my dark pumpkin pie out. I'm just going to put a little bit of dark pumpkin pie there. And then I'm going to take my light pumpkin pie and color the cone. Okay. And then I'm going to take the Natural Tones Deep SU100 and I'm going to color in my ice cream because my grandson's favorite ice cream is chocolate. So I'm just going to give that a good color. Now we're done with those and I can set those all aside. Let's go to the light flirty flamingo. And I'm just going to put a little bit on each cheek and on his tongue. That's that. Then I'm going to go in right away with the color lifter. And I'm just going to blend that out a bit. Okay. Next up, I'm going to take light crumb cake and I'm going to take the brush tip end and I'm going to work this in little circles. This is my favorite way to color this Yeti. I like to keep turning my blend when I'm using the brush so that I don't overwork one area. Much the same way you would a watercolor pencil to keep it sharpened evenly. And just keep rotating that tip. If I have little areas of white left, it does not matter. In fact, that's perfectly good on this particular image. Uh-oh. My light crumb cake seems to be dying here. But we're going to get enough. There we go. All right, so we've got that. Now we're going to go back with the bullet tip of the color lifter. And I'm just going to make little circles all over my Yeti. And what that's going to do is make him look like he's got fuzzy fur. Or, let me use some better grammar. He has fuzzy fur. Hello, Mr. Cruz. Hello, Lynette, if I didn't say hello already. Okay, so there's our Yeti, and we'll set him aside and you'll watch that unfold a little bit. So let's just set him over here. Now to do the packages, I started with my dark lemon lolly, and I'm going to color in the bows on my package. And then I wanted my ribbon to show, and it's not really meant for that, so I'm just going to go to the right and left of the black line there. Then I'm going to go back with my light boho blue, and I'm going to turn this around so I can see this, do this more easily. And I'm just going to take my boho blue and draw a line right down by the yellow, fill that in, And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So now you can see the ribbon more clearly. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the light cherry cobbler on the smaller package. And color that in. Flip that around and color that in. Okay. And then I'm going to pull in the dies, and I would cut out my Yeti. Okay. And there's a die in here for you to cut his arm, like so. And if you line this up just so, you can run both of these through at the same time. I tend not to do that just because I don't want my dies to jump. So you would cut out the Yeti and then go back and cut the arm, and it just cuts a curve there. And then you've got a small package, a large package, and the ice cream cone here. So we would run all of those through the die at the same time, and this will all fit on the mini all together. Okay, but to save us a little bit of time, I've already done that. So let's grab our pieces. Okay, so we've got our Yeti, and that one die puts a little slit in his arm here that you can see. And then we've got our packages, okay? Let's go ahead and put this card together. But one thing that I like to do with the Yeti's arm, it's cut to here, but I like to loosen up those fingers. So I'm just going to take my paper snips in here and loosely follow those lines around his fingertips with my snips. Okay, now I've opened it up just a little bit more so I can slip a package in here and a package in here, like so. Okay, and then his ice cream cone's going to go here. So let's just grab some glue dots, and we'll go ahead and put a glue dot on his hand for the ice cream cone. And I'll put a glue dot on the smaller package and slip that in here, like that. And one more glue dot, and we'll slip our package, our larger package, like so. All right. Let's go ahead and put our layers together then. And because I'm working on a 3D embossing folder area, I'm going to go ahead and use liquid glue. And I'm going to try and center this center this up with even borders top, side, and bottom. And then I'm going to add my striped piece. And I do not want to cover up my footprints down here. So I'm going to put that about right there. I'm going to add at this point I can go back to my preferred adhesive, which is the Stampin' Seal. I'm just going to run a strip of that. And place this about right here. Set my Yeti here. So he looks like he's in those footprints. And then I'm going to add my winter wishes. I need to make sure that when I add this, I do not cover up my words with my Yeti. And it doesn't look like I'm going to have an issue with that. So let's grab some Stampin' Dimensionals. I am down to the dregs on this one. So I'm just going to cut me some pieces. I'm going to run this right along those pieces that are showing on the back to further hold everything together, even though I glue dotted it. And just add some strips. And then we need one for the hand. Peel off that wax paper backing. Add our Yeti. All right, there we go. Now let's grab our embellishments. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. All right. So let's put one there. That's a small one. I'm using the Misty Moon or the boho blue here. And I'm going to put one up here. And a large one here. Okay. And there is the finished front of our card. I hope you like that. For the inside of our card, I took the Get Yeti to Party, It's Your Birthday stamp and stamped that in boho blue, and then I added another strip of that paper. So we'll go ahead and add this to the inside of our card. And for our envelope, then I've taken those three, the two presents and the ice cream cone, and I stamped them and colored them in the same palette. And there is the first card. I hope you like that. I hope I've convinced you that if you don't yet have the Yetis, you really, really, really need them. Because you can do so much with these. All right, let's go ahead and set those aside. And we will move on to our next project. Okay. Now the next project doesn't solely use the Yetis. In fact, it doesn't use the Yeti at all. So, with this one, I'm bringing in the Cottage Wreaths. This is in the annual catalog. And it has coordinating dies, which are also in the annual catalog. And then I'm bringing in the Greeting stamp set Very Best Occasions. This is also in the annual catalog, and it will take you year-round. Happy birthday. It's got a couple of Christmas sentiments. It's got comfort and love. Love you, mean it. Love you, miss you. You make my life happier. Sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. It's really good because it has both inside and outside and a multitude of occasions that you can use it for. Okay, the designer series paper that we are using with this card is the Glorious Gingham designer series paper. Here are those country wreath dies that we're going to be using. Okay, so we've got those. And lastly, well, I guess I shouldn't say lastly, I'm also bringing in the, what are these called? Artistic Mix Decorative Masks. And we're going to use this gingham, plaid gingham one from that. So let's set that aside. And then our embellishment is the adhesive backed sparkle gems. These are in the annual catalog. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I've done a bunch of the die cutting already. So we're going to start with a Berry Burst card base. And this is cut again A2 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. You'll need a piece of basic white, and this is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. For the inside, you need a piece of basic white that is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and I've already stamped with the very best occasions. May your days be happy, your heart be light, your Christmas merry, and your new year bright. And I've put a 3/4 inch piece of the designer series paper that I cut from here on there, and this piece is 5 1/8 by 5 3/8, and this can actually go down now. Okay, let's see, what did I do with my sample cover? Here it is. Got to be able to see that, so I know what I'm doing. Okay, the first thing we're going to do with this piece of paper is we're going to stamp the sentiment. Okay, and in order to get that nice and straight, I'm going to use my Stamparatus, and yes, I know it's retired. There are stamp positioning tools on the market that will work for you. Okay, so I've already lined that up. And I'm going to put a stamp pad under there. And then I'm going to grab my Berry Burst ink. Okay. I'm going to ink this up in Berry Burst. I'm going to stamp that down so that it's nice and straight. Okay, and there we are. Now I can set that aside. I'm done with it. Okay, and now let's bring in our scrap paper. And I'm going to use just a little bit of temporary adhesive. And I'm going to put this on my scrap paper. And grab the stencil. And I'm going to put this down like so. And I'm not going to tape it, because I'm not doing a ton of ink blending. Did I do this? Oh, for some reason I didn't have my pretty peacock out. Oh, wait a minute. It's because I need Lost Lagoon, not pretty peacock. And where did I put my Lost? Right here. Here's my Lost Lagoon. All right, so I'm going to take and ink up my blending brush. I do not want full coverage here, and I stamped my sentiment because I did not want ink where that's at. So I'm going to take and start off of my paper, and then I'm going to go kind of to the center and just work my way. I don't want full coverage. And then I'll ink it again. And then I'm going to pick this up. And that looks good to me. That's all I want. I didn't want a lot. Just enough to give a hint of a background there. And definitely not cover my sentiment. Okay. So we can now add our designer series paper to our card base. And we're going to have just a tiny little border of the berry burst. Okay, got that. And then we can add this piece. And already we have a pretty card. Don't you agree? Okay, but let's go ahead and put our stamping in here. So let's get a piece of basic white, which apparently I didn't put in the envelope here. Okay, and we are going to stamp. No, for some reason I don't have it in there. Craziness. What did I do with my pieces? Okay, well, guess we're starting from scratch here. So let's get our wreath. Okay. So with this wreath, I'm going to stamp this in Pretty Peacock. Okay, so I'm gonna, you know what? I need to, what did I do with those pieces? I know I cut them because I remember doing this. So this one's a little bit inky. So I'm gonna push the ink back because these are distinctive stamps and I want to get a good image. So I'm gonna stamp that up. And I did not get the entire, there we go. And then I'm going to put this down. And then I'm going to pick it up and rotate it just a pinch. Okay, so I get that little outline. All right. And then I'm going to bring in the coffee mug from the Yeti to Party stamp. And I need 3 of these. And I need some masking tape. Just 1 second. So I left all the masking tape on the die cut table. So I'm going to mask off the mug steam. And it won't be perfect, and it's fine if it isn't perfect. Okay, so we're going to grab the memento and ink that up. And pull off the tape. That's the most important part. I'm so glad you like that card. And then we're going to give that a press down. And I'm going to do this again. Ink up that mug. And I need 3 of those. Okay, and then I'm going to throw my Post-it tape away so I don't end up with a bunch of ink on my fingers, but just to make sure, I'm going to give those a quick little clean on my chamois. And then we're going to grab our Stampin' blends. We're going to color. Okay. And again, I'm going to slip a scratch paper underneath. I'm going to start with Berry Burst. And I'm going to color my mug, one of my mugs. Then I'm going to take my dark Berry Burst. I'm going to put a little line under here, a little bit on the handles, and a little bit along the left edge here just for a shadow, and under the cup rim, just to make that cup appear round. And then I'm going to do 2 in the Lost Lagoon, the same way. Guys, I apologize because I thought I had these done, but I sure don't see what I did with them. That would have saved us a bunch of time. But real life crafting here. So you get to see the whole process. Okay. And then I should have done the light, both lights at the same time. These are such small areas. All right. So we've got that. Let's go back. Put a little bit of shadow there and there. And along the ridge again, and make that mug appear rounded. And finally, we're going to use the Deep SU200 from the Natural Tones, and that's going to be our cocoa in my case. Might be coffee in yours. Okay, so there's our pieces. And the last thing that we need to do before die cutting is put a little wink of Stella on our mugs. Because who doesn't like a shiny, pretty mug? Okay, there we are. Where did I put those mugs? Oh, here they are. I put them in here. Haha. I can save us some time here. Let me get my pieces out. That's the wrong color. There we go. There we go, and there we go. At least that'll save us some die cutting because there's only one coffee die cut, or die, so we would have had to do it 3 times. So let's save ourselves some effort and pull that on out. Yay! Okay, so then all we need to do is cut our wreath. Let's give this a trim here. Set that aside and pull out. Oh, you know what I forgot to stamp? Let me do that so we can die cut it at the same time. We're going to take the Berry Burst ink again. And from the Cottage Wreaths, we're going to ink up the bow. Okay, there we go. And then we can die cut everything at once. All right, let's get this done. Let's grab the wreath dies. And if I did this correctly, this should go. Oops. I thought I had this all fixed up so I wouldn't have to do this. Oh, but I turned my paper and now I don't know where I'm at. Oops. Okay, let's see. This should be the corner. So this should work in. Where are we? Come on. Right here. There we are. Okay. All right. I marked my stamp so that I know how it goes, but then if you turn your paper the wrong direction, that doesn't help you very much. Okay, so we've got these two pieces that will die cut. Okay, let's bring in the mini. I did not check today to see if the boho mini was still available. But if the boho blue one isn't available, the white one is. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that on the mini machine. And we're just going to roll that on through. And here are our cut pieces. Got that beautiful wreath. And when you stamp it double like that, just pay attention to the darker sections when you're trying to use the die along with it and disregard the lighter stamping. That will save you a whole bunch of heartache. Okay, let's put these back so they don't get lost. And now we have our pieces. Okay. So now we can bring back in our card. We're going to pop up the wreath. Okay, so what did I do with my paper snips? Made myself a little mess here. Paper snips are on the left. Okay, we're going to put some dimensionals here and here. Here, and snip this. I get so excited when I get close to the end of cleaning up the ends of the dimensionals. I don't know what is so exciting about it, but just is very satisfying to know that you finished off Stampin' Dimensionals. Okay, so we'll go ahead and remove those wax papers. And then we're going to place this on our card. Like so. Next, we're going to add the bow, and we're going to do that with some mini glue dots. And what I did was I took and put one in the center, pulled it off, put another one right over the top so that I had double height. And then I'm going to place this at the top of my wreath. I'm going to do the same thing with my mugs. And double stack those. All right. So we're going to start with our Berry Burst mug. And we're going to place this at the bottom in the center. And then we're going to go with our Lost Lagoon on either side. Okay, and then to the front of this, we're going to take those adhesive backed sparkle gems. Okay, and I decided to take the clear ones or silver ones. They look a little bit like maybe a snowflake. So we're going to put one here, one here, and then we'll put one here and one here. And then I'm going to take my dark Berry Burst Stampin' Blend, and I'm using the bullet tip. And I'm going to color one of these very carefully so I don't ruin the tip of my marker. And then I'm going to add this to the center of my wreath bow. And there's the front of that card. Hope you all like that. And then we can take and add our inside piece. And finally, what did I do? Oh, now we have our envelope. So what I did with the envelope was I took the snowflake from the Yeti stamp set, this snowflake right here, and I stamped it in Lost Lagoon, and then I added the cup and colored it in Berry Burst, and added another snowflake in Lost Lagoon. And now we've got a coordinating set of cards. Okay, let's bring that first card back in. And now we've got two cards made with the Yeti to Party and the Cottage Wreaths in this particular case, both of those sets. Remember, these are both pieces of the Yeti stamp set, the stamp set, Yeti to Party, and the Yeti dies are in the clearance rack right now, or they were this afternoon, still available, I did check. So you've got those pretty inexpensively, and then the Cottage Wreaths stamp set and the dies are in the annual catalog. Now don't forget it's bonus day, so if you order these products and you spend at least $50, you're going to get a coupon to redeem next month for $5. So, and that's for each $50. So if you spend $100, you get $10 coupons in coupons, and if you spend $150, you get $15 in coupons, and so on and so forth. All right, everybody. Oh, thank you. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad you like those. You know, I had to get those Yetis stamp sets in, but I also wanted to show you that you don't have to use the Yetis just for with the Yeti. It can become pretty much anything you want it to with the added pieces that are in there. All right, everybody, I will see you back here next Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for having patience with me with my wash machine issues tonight. I truly appreciate you. Thank you so much, and good night.